So guys, over at hltv.org, we have this little special for you. A few days ago, obviously, the great guys over there put up a post saying, do you have questions for Joe Miller? Well, a lot of you apparently did, around about 300 questions, and I had the awesome task of working through them. Of course, we do have some great prizes to give away for 3 of you lucky people who answered, who asked questions, which will be, of course, 1 year long ESL TV premium keys, which of course will include CBIT, so you get to see everything in high definition. That is absolutely awesome. But anyway, I think it's time we should just kick off with the questions. I have chosen 14 questions, I do believe, and you know how bad I am at counting, so we'll just go through them anyway. So first question comes from Bendover, a very regular contributor over on hltv.org and over on ESL TV as well. And he asked me, how were you introduced to the casting world? Was it something that I applied for, or was it just luck that they picked you as I showed some potential? Well, there were quite a lot of questions kind of similar to this, you know, people who asked, how did you get into this? What happened? Well, basically, I started commentating when I was 16 years old, commentating Battlefield 1942, which was the first game I ever played on a competitive level. And I kind of just progressed there, did a few shows per week, some clan base here and there and things like that back in the day. And then eventually I joined TSN, and from there, of course, we went into the CPL World Tour and things like that, then the WSVG, and I did some Code 5 and, you know, just lots of big events. Excuse me. And then after that, there was kind of a slow point with events and things like that. And in the end, I joined Fnatic as a general manager. I worked with Fnatic for, I think it was 1 year, was it 2 years? A year, 2 years anyway, as a general manager, obviously working from their office, which was then in Southampton. And then ESL came to me and said, hey, Joe, why don't you come and work for us? So that's the answer to Bendover's question. I came here through a lot of hard work, and there's another similar question later which I'll touch on as well, which is, you know, another cool one about that. Anyway, next question is from Stax, who actually is part of the StarX fan club. Just going to add that in there. And he said, Carmack said last year that the transmission of the World Cup would be made so that the viewer could see as many games as possible. Do we have the same plan this year? And what do I think about this? Do I think all events should be planned in order to satisfy the viewer? Well, yes, of course, the final part of that, of course, every event should be planned so that you guys can see as many games as possible. And the plan for this tournament, obviously we have 2 streams, so every CounterStrike game that's on stream A will be played on the stage, and then we also have some time over on stream B as well, which will be the games that are played from the tournament area, which obviously don't get the stage time, don't have the flashy lights and cameramen around, but of course you will have the commentators there, plus the video stream, and of course for any games that we can't fit in here on ESL TV, then of course they will be on HLTV. So you're going to actually get to see every single Counter-Strike game, and that's something that really a lot of people ask, and this next question is a bit of a follow-up to that one from Monu, who said, Joe, can I fix more CS games to be streamed? A lot of people bought the new HD pass, and then ESL said we only show 3 group stage matches, which was a little bit of a miscommunication actually from ESL TV, or from ESL actually upstairs, over to hltv.org, where we didn't quite, you know, let on to the fact that we have a second stream. And I think in the first 2 days we show 7 or 9 Counter-Strike games on stream. So your HD pass will definitely be worth the €6.50. And if you watched the show last night, you will of course know that €6.50 is just a cocktail. So who cares? I don't know who drinks cocktails, but if you do, you don't have to drink one more this week, and you can just buy the HD pass. No problem. So next question, which actually is a winner of a question. I really like this question because I think it's something that needs to be addressed. And that's from, I'm sorry for butchering your name, my friend, Dimitri S. And he says, wait, 1 second. He says, how hard is it to become you? I know this sounds like I gave him a prize just because he said I'm cool or something. He said, because obviously currently you are much more popular than some of the top team players. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if that's true, but whatever. And the main part of the question, did you need to finish a special course or meet some special people? And how long were you in this business before you managed to get to the point where you are now? And I gave Dimitri a 1 year ESL TV premium pass for this question. Good job, man. Because I think there's a distinct lack of English commentators in Counter-Strike 1.6. I mean, if you look on a regular basis, there's literally just me streaming games. There's no one else who's just doing it from home, doing it on, the 10 million live streams that we have out there. And if they are, I'm sorry, but I've not seen that many people doing it. And of course, the big events get their streams as well. But I really think that some people need to kind of say, okay, I'm going to give this a try, and I'm going to really start. And, there are some tips to go along with that one. Really prepare. Preparation is the number one key, really, to broadcasting stuff. Of course, at events, we have those delays and things like that where I have to sit here and literally there's not that much to talk about in terms of the tournament because we've already talked about who's playing who's beaten who, blah, blah, blah. But, you go over to hltv.org, look in their stats system. There are literally thousands of pages worth of stats there for you to look at and really to talk about during the game. Put the preparation in. Obviously, get yourself a cool guy who's going to sit next to you, something which I don't have all the time. But certainly when you're starting out, it's a lot easier to commentate when you're not just one guy. You don't have so much time to fill. You can rely on the other guy to help you out while you have a drink, while you need a little bit of, a break. And I urge you guys to kind of pick things up for the community and just start doing some audio recordings while you're watching HLTV, things like that. And you never know, you could be sat in my chair in just a few years, because that's how I started out. Okay, it was quite a few years ago now, but still, that's how you get kicked off. That's how you start. And that's something that I really hope to see a little bit more. So congrats to Dimitri for picking up a 1-year ESL TV Premium. Enjoy that. Next question is from Cypher. Actually, Scheifer. Awesome name. What was the weirdest nickname, which is quite ironic, which was the weirdest nickname you had to say while streaming, and one that you were always messing up? There are actually quite a few nicknames. Obviously, the nicknames of some of the Chinese players, some of the Russian players. I remember not so long ago back that people were flaming me for saying Zek instead of Hek and things like that. But one of the harder names is Filter. Obviously from Sweden, and that name caused me so many troubles somehow, and I'm pretty sure I still say it wrong sometimes as well. And that's one thing that you can't know every guy's nickname, how to pronounce it correctly, and it's just something that comes with experience. And obviously there are some nicknames out there which cause me a few problems, but hopefully as we get better we all learn to say them. Anyway, next question from Ebonite. Why do you think no team has been able to dominate 2 years in a row? Is it their mentality, overconfidence, ego, or collapsing under pressure? That's a really good question, and a question which, of course, so many teams in the past have tried to, probably answer themselves, because, I mean, if you look at Navi from 2010, brilliant team, dominated, amazing. Came into 2011, they were playing at home, if you like, for the Intel Extreme Masters European Championship Finals, and unfortunately they didn't quite do as well as they wanted to. I mean, a top 4 placing, still absolutely amazing at an event with that kind of caliber of teams, but still, I really think that there's something in a player's brain where you dominate for a whole year, and of course it becomes almost routine. Winning doesn't feel all that great anymore, and I think that you will find in the teams that push against that top 2 position, the teams like Frag Executors, the teams like NTW, that they don't win everything, they win every now and then, they get the top 3 here, sometimes they don't do so well. They have a really high motivation level because they want to be pushing all the time, whereas you look at the dominant team of the year and they're thinking, well, we won, we just got to win here. Of course, they have a lot of pressure on them as well to do so. You guys know as fans that you expect when you see Navi in a tournament that chances are they're going to be in the final, and you expect them sometimes to win it as well. And there is a lot of pressure on a lot of these teams to be winning, not just from the fans, but from their organizations and from themselves as well. I mean, don't ever underestimate the kind of self-criticism that these players give each other. Playing constantly in these tournaments, winning the tournament, you lose a tournament and you feel, well, we won everything this year, why have we lost this one? And it can really play into your mind, and hopefully I think this year again we're probably going to see a different team to be dominating. I would personally prefer it if we didn't have a team that dominated, actually. I mean, over time, we've seen that there is every year a team that dominates. But hopefully, I think this year maybe is a time where we're going to see different teams stepping up for each event, and hopefully it won't just be one team who's always there to beat. I hope that we get everything through. So thanks for the question, Ebonite. Next one is from Metal CS, who said. Actually, it was the third part of his question. He asked me a few. The third one, which was, what would you do if you won the lottery? Of course, except sharing the money with me, he says. Well, I'd probably give you a couple of euros if you ask nicely. That wouldn't be a problem. But if I won the lottery, honestly, I have so many plans, as I'm sure everybody does, for when they win the lottery, which statistically is never going to happen to any of us, guys. So you can keep dreaming all you want. But one thing I would definitely do is start up a team. Just like Joe Miller's Superstars or something, because if you win the lottery, okay, if you win $1 million, it's not even enough to do stuff like that. But if you win a big amount of money on a lottery, then you can basically stick it in the bank, live off the interest, spend a couple of million just having fun, doing what you like. And I think we've seen from the likes of Arbalete and from other people in the past, when those big money people come in there, then it really helps out the scene. I mean, look how many tournaments Arbalete run last year. His support of Navi, look as a whole what he's done, one man for the esports scene, and of course I would aim to be something like that. I'm not the kind of person who I'd win the lottery and I'd say, okay, I'm done commentating CounterStrike now, I'm just going to go off and sit in a club with loads of lovely women and drive my Ferrari around, although I probably would do that as well, not gonna lie. But yeah, I definitely would invest some money into esports, and it would be an investment. It wouldn't be just, okay, there's a couple of million, just throw it in there and have fun for a year. It would be planned out properly, the proper people to work around a tournament, to really know what needs to be done to grow the scene as a whole. So I hope that answers your lottery question somewhat. Next question is from Bum Bum. Awesome nickname again. How's your life beside the commentary job at ESL TV? Have I learned much German since I moved here? And do I speak German in my normal course of life at all? The thing about Cologne is that everybody speaks English somehow. And it's actually kind of ridiculous, because even when I get into a taxi, let's say, and I tell them where I want to go in German, the first thing they do is say, oh, you're not German, where are you from? And then they want to practice their English, which obviously doesn't really help my German skills much, but I do speak a little bit of German here and there. But on the whole, I but tend to keep myself to English. But I have learned a lot of German. I did learn German at school for 5 years, which, if you're from the UK, that means absolutely nothing. For if you learn a language for 10 years in England, you still don't speak any more than like a 1-year-old baby when you get to a country. And as far as how is life besides, commentating here at ESL TV, absolutely great people to work with. We've got quite a small, compact team here in the TV department. Everyone's awesome. Obviously, going out together a lot. And generally, life in Cologne is absolutely amazing. If you've never been to Cologne, I suggest you check it out, especially for the nightlife, because it's awesome. So anyway, next question. Okay, Wuna, or Wuna, sorry. Really bad. I'm bad with nicknames. You guys know that already. How do I feel my commentary changed or evolved since the days of TSN until now? And were there any moments in my career when it seemed like I wouldn't be able to continue shoutcasting because of the lack of open shoutcasting job positions, etc.? I think my commentary changed a ridiculous amount, actually. I listened to one of the first casts I ever did, which was just an audio cast, no video streams back in the day. It cost too much money and it just didn't happen. And it was pretty horrible, actually. I sounded nervous, and obviously it's totally different commentating on video stream than it is to a radio stream, because a radio stream you really have to say everything that's going on, and obviously I was commentating Battlefield 1942 back then. It was 10 versus 10, and there was a hell of a lot to talk about, so it was literally 2 hours of just constantly talking as fast as possible and getting things in, and it sounded pretty terrible. But yeah, I really think my commentary has evolved, not just since TSN, but since I've been at ESL TV as well. I hope you guys agree that things are getting a lot more interesting, and getting more of a feel for the community and everything like that. As far as the next part of the question goes, were there any times I felt like I wouldn't be able to continue? I touched on this actually a little bit earlier on, which is, once I finished working for TSN, then after the World Series of Video Games died, and then I went over to Fnatic. That was the point where, the shoutcasting jobs for me got a little bit tougher to get a hold of, and things became a bit of a problem to make money, which of course everyone needs to survive. So, what I did then, I said to a good friend of mine, of course, Sam Matthews from Fnatic, do you need some help? Can I come and work for you? And he said, yeah, come on. Come down. So I moved literally from one end of England to the other end. Literally from, I guess I talked to Sam on a Saturday, and by Monday I was already down in Southampton working for Fnatic. And a really valuable couple of years that we had there. The guys at Fnatic, brilliant people to work with, and of course working with the players as well was something which really opened my eyes. Got to travel a lot with them and things like that. But really, I enjoyed the management side of things, but my heart lies in esports right now with commentating, which is why, ESL TV came and said, well, do you want to do this? And I said, hell yes, I want to do that. And that was another kind of, I said yes on a Saturday and I left on less than a week later. So hopefully that clears some things up there. I mean, definitely I've improved. And when I listened to cast number 1 and yesterday's broadcast, you could probably hear a big difference if you got a chance for that as well. Then we have Mile, who said, would you give up commentating esports if someone paid you $1 million for doing so? Whew, it's a tough question. $1 million is a lot of money. But actually, it's not enough money to, keep living for a long time. You can't live off what is 600,000-700,000 euros for the rest of your life. So no, the answer to the question is no, I wouldn't. $1 million, not enough to kick me out of esports. So unless someone a little bit richer comes along, you guys are safe for a little bit while. And then he said Cristiano Ronaldo or Lionel Messi. Bit of a more random question, but I'm gonna say Messi. He's just a lot more fun to watch. And he doesn't shave his legs, at least as far as I know, but Ronaldo definitely does shave his legs. He's out of my book. I mean, you guys have seen already my love for the natural man hair. Shaving your legs as a footballer, pretty weird. And there we go, third question. Did you really think Isahara could make it through the group stages? Haha. Yeah, I did. I really believe that Isahara are a great team, and it's sad to see that EPS has gone out of EPS France. CounterStrike has gone out of EPS France now, because I think the French scene, as teams like Emulate proved in 2007, they can be up there with the best. We saw Isahara playing online, playing just amazing. They've got such great talent in there with the likes of Sixer and players like that, and I really thought that they could make a big impact on that event. Obviously, as it kind of happened, they didn't, and I lost my bet. But then they won't be the last team that I really tip to say, this team could do it. They could actually come out and cause a few upsets and maybe qualify through to the playoffs and things like that, because I think those kind of teams can. Next question is a prize-winning question. Yay. And it's from Doob, who says, do you like to commentate CS, or are you just doing your job? Do I like CS, and what is my favorite game? You win for this question, Doob, a 1-year ESL TV premium key, so congratulations for that. But just to answer that, because a lot of people have asked me that in the past. Obviously, I commentate Quake Live, I commentate League of Legends, I've even done a bit of StarCraft 2 here and there, and I really can commentate to some level a lot of games out there, but I have to say that I really do enjoy casting Counter-Strike, and it's definitely not just doing it for my job. In fact, casting Counter-Strike is right now my favorite thing to do, favorite game to commentate by quite a long way. Of course, I like the action that we get in Quake Live, but for me, Counter-Strike, the tactical aspect, the kind of star power that you have on each team, the storyline, which goes back years and years and years, really just absolutely amazing. So yes, I really do enjoy casting Counter-Strike, and I hope that I don't have to stop anytime soon. What is my favorite game? Well, there are a lot of games. I'm not going to answer that one because I don't really have a favourite game to play, at least. So, yeah, you don't get an answer to that one, but you win a year's ESL TV premium key, so you shouldn't be too worried about it. Next question from Giannini from Brazil says, Joe, lots of people have been saying that Counter-Strike doesn't have much time left. Khan himself told in an interview with HLTV.org. What are your impressions about Counter-Strike and esports lifetime in general? I think that those people who are saying Counter-Strike is dead are totally wrong. I mean, look at HLTV.org during a big event. The last event, we managed to crash the site. I don't know how many times, 2 or 3 times. And I talked to Nixon, hello, from HLTV.org, and he was so happy. The amount of people coming to the site, the community, everything's still so strong in Counter-Strike. And of course, yeah, we're seeing it. These headlines like no Counter-Strike here, no Counter-Strike there, Counter-Strike dropped from this tournament. But we're also seeing, every now and then, Counter-Strike reselected for ESWC. Obviously, the Intel Extreme Masters running loads of Counter-Strike events this year. And the thing about Counter-Strike 1.6, in terms of its lifetime, is that the organizers of tournaments are very short-sighted if they don't have Counter-Strike 1.6. Why, you ask? Well, look at the names in Counter-Strike. You think about what you need to have a successful tournament, and then tell me how you plan to do that successful tournament without names like SK, Fnatic, Mousesports, Frag Executors, MIBR, EG, these massive names in esports, which, if you're running a tournament, they're exactly the people that you need to get to your tournament. Because if you don't have those people, no one really cares that much. They don't watch your HLTV.org. They don't watch your live streams. The sponsors don't get the viewer numbers that they need to say, okay, here's your prize pot for next year. And all of a sudden, the tournament's kind of going down a little bit. So I really think that people that are saying Counter-Strike is dead aren't looking also at the business aspect of these events, because the Counter-Strike community is massive. Every single event we've been running over the last year here on ESL TV has been pushing with record numbers on the streams. And how can you say that the game is dying when that's the case? For me, I think Counter-Strike has still got a long life behind it. Don't get me wrong, I don't think it's going to go forever. I think that we're probably going to see something new coming out. Of course, CS Pro Mod, people are saying, yeah, it's good enough. People are saying, no, not yet. Me personally, I think no, not yet. I think it's definitely a step in the right direction. But until someone takes the plunge, one of the big teams, probably one of the big organizers of an event, say, okay, CS Pro Mod this year, that's what we're going to do, then everyone will start to follow suit. And of course, the teams, if they want to make their money, they have to start to move over. And I think that's the way it's going to go. Obviously, I really hope that someone comes along, whether that's Valve, whether someone else, and makes a real game that's got the playability of Counter-Strike 1.6, because we're trying to clone the game, but no one's trying to, improve the game. We're saying it's got to be like Counter-Strike 1.6 with better graphics. Who says it has? I mean, it's got to be as good as, or if not better. And I hope someone like that comes along. Of course, it's hard for us as a community to give up 1.6, and I definitely don't think we should. But I should also touch back on the other thing, which is Dimitri's question about how to become a top professional, commentator. And I really think that to help the community out, to help Counter-Strike 1.6, now that video streaming is so easy, you can do it from your living room now. I think we need to see more people, so that people, on the outside of Counter-Strike 1.6 see more streams from these games which don't necessarily get the attention every week. And hopefully that'll help to, bring the community. Look at games like StarCraft 2. You've got every day like 400 billion trillion live streams going on. Look at Counter-Strike 1.6 and tell me how many live streams you find in one day. I can bet you it's less than 3 on a good day. So I really hope that the community steps up there, and I really think that'll help out with the longevity of the 1.6 scene. But for now, I don't think anyone needs to worry. I don't think it's going anywhere. Anyway, Gumla says, how do you prepare before commentating a big match? Do I have any special rituals? I don't as such have a ritual. I mean, for me, preparation is the king of everything. If you've got a good set of notes with you, you can pull out these facts for every game. You can tell how this team qualified, which lineup they had when they qualified, who they beat on the way, who they lost to, and why this game now is so special. And that's something that I really believe is important in this. My other little ritual is my pre-event beard, which I actually shaved off this morning. You'll realize that if you watch the ESL TV show last night. The beard is gone. today. So that's my ritual of the last 2 or 3 events. I've grown a pre-event beard. That's mostly because it's cold in Cologne right now. But anyway. So anyway, finally, last question. It's from Biggs, and of course it is the 3rd and final prize-winning question. The other 2 were, a little bit more serious. Biggs gave me a bit more of a fun question, and I thought I'd finish it with this question. He said, Joe, if you were stuck on an island with 8 feet of rope, a naked elf, a can of beer, 12 candles, and a parachute, how would I plan my escape? Well, I thought about this one for a long time, actually, and it kind of entertained me yesterday when I was a little bit bored. Basically, what I'd do, I'd take the rope and I'd hang the naked elf, because anyone who's trying to escape an island doesn't need a naked elf to cause you any problems. So I'd take the rope, stick it around his neck, hang him to the nearest tree. That's that problem sorted. Then, of course, 12 candles and a parachute. I'd try and make fire. I can make fire from sticks, by the way. I learned that trick when I was a little bit younger. And then I'd make like SOS in the sand, assuming it's a desert island or just anywhere. And then hopefully someone would find me. A parachute, of course, would keep me warm during the night. And a can of beer. Now, this is the most important ingredient for your survival on this island, because aside from eating the naked elf, it's your only source of protein, actually, because I'm pretty sure candle wax doesn't offer you anything, in terms of survival. But that can of beer, I am a beer fan, so I'd probably just wait until I was really bored and then drink the can as fast as possible to maximize its effects on my body, and then, of course, probably just be like, okay, now I'm stuck on this island with nothing to do. So, yeah, there you go, Biggs. That's how I would try to plan my escape. Probably I'd just end up perishing after a few days. But, yeah, the most important part of that is using the rope to hang the naked elf, because he would definitely be very annoying. So, guys, thanks a lot for your questions. Really enjoyed answering some of these. Of course, you will see more of me from the Intel Extreme Masters World Championships, which kick off from the 1st till the 5th at Hanover, of course, at the CeBIT. I will be writing another blog, actually, before I go there on HLTV.org, making somewhat of a prediction. Don't forget you can join my Dream Team League as well. It's called Joe Miller's Super Awesome League or something like that. You got Get Right in there and Lurpis in there as well, so make sure you come into that league so I can kick your asses, or most likely you kick mine. And yeah, thanks a lot for your time. Thanks for the questions, and we'll see you at CeBIT.